Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome. So, I am going to put the topic for the day out. But before that, very happy Wednesday, wherever you are. I hope you're doing well. So, the topic of the day is, as you can see, how can we avoid activist burnout? So, this is a topic that we have already taken up in the past, but I want to do a little bit of laser focus on this and actually get down to the brass tacks, because it's very important that we understand how to sustain ourselves in such a big global massive movement. Okay, so Livia ji, welcome, ma'am. Thank you so much for being here. I'm just going to put out the banner so people are able to understand what the topic of the day is: how to avoid activist burnout. So, the idea is there are some specific strategies that we can use to avoid activism burnout. What is activism? What is burnout? What is activism? We'll be talking about all these topics and we'll break it down into different sections. Okay, so Judy, welcome. Rainy afternoon from Boston. Okay, welcome, ma'am. Glad you guys are here. So, the topic of the day is actually very serious, and we have to keep our laser focus on why we have to do a few things the right way if we don't have to burn out. So, let me give you a brief overview about what is happening right now. Okay. So, before we get into that, again, I'll put the topic out here. So, anybody also, if you want to put out your answers, what does activism mean to you in your life? Is a question. So that is the question of the day. What does activism mean to you in your life? And how do you sustain it? How do you keep fighting for what you believe in? That is the question. So I'm going to start in pockets and we will keep addressing any questions you have, any concerns you have. Please, if you have any specific questions around the topic, please let me know. Okay, so the topic is, how can we make a difference? And usually we all pick one or two or three causes that are very close to our heart, and we try to do our best in all these areas. You know, some of my friends are very big into recycling. In America, where I live, recycling is where you can put away the cardboard boxes or the plastic the plastic packaging that you receive items in. You can put them all away in recycle bins. So some of my friends are very big into recycling because they don't want to pollute the planet. They do their bit to spread awareness. They have non-profit organizations that, teach, educate the right way to recycle and all those. So there is youth activism. In the world right now, 41% of our world right now is under the age of 24. So with Generation Z, those are the people who are born after 1995, are heavily invested in activism. So that is the reason why we see a lot of youth activists all around the world. And even in Sushant's movement right now, we see a lot of young kids. They are like, they just finished their exams or they're prepping for exams. You keep hearing all these things, and it's just amazing how involved and engaged our youth is. Generation Z has been very active compared to many other generations past, because the main reason is, I would say, the lack in political and social institutions around us. They're like, oh, it hasn't worked for my parents. What is the guarantee that it will work for me? So how about I take the problem into my own hands and try to figure out solutions? And it is also immense belief and trust and faith in themselves to be able to solve the problems for themselves. So Generation Z is very, very active. That is why we see a lot of activism these days. One of the most, I remember very clearly 3 or 4 years ago, I was watching a news about climate environmentalism and activism around plastic pollution and all those things. And I was just amazed that an 80-year-old was just speaking so eloquently. I think he was part of Greta Thunberg's team, or he was inspired by her words and her actions. So he was like, what is the point of going to school if we are not going to be taught facts about climate change and all those things? And it was just amazing how 80-year-olds were getting so involved deeply into what was happening. So the uh, the youth activism, right, it is mostly inspired because of the lack of faith in the political and social institutions that are there currently right now. So my request is, let's just combine the fear of status quo with hope that things will change for the better and continue activism. So let's get into the definitions of activism, and I will share the screen here to explain a little bit so that everybody, we can take some notes and we can understand at the broader length what's happening. Okay, so let's do this, share screen. Okay, I have this sideboard here. Okay, full screen, let's go. Let's see if you can see this. Okay, I'll be here. Okay, so first things first, let's explore what activism is. And if any one of you has a definition for that, what do you think activism is? What in your life is activism for you? So for me, let me explain basically. So activism, right? The act that can propel social and political change, right? So social and political change has to happen somehow. Okay. So for me, it might mean I have primarily, okay, so let's say I will actually put down my top three. Maybe that will enable you to think about what activism means for you. So for me, it is creating awareness around mental health. So that is my life's mission. I want to create awareness around mental health. Okay. And I want to talk about education equity. So a lot of people right now don't have the resources, even though kids are interested in talking about a lot of, they want to do a lot of using their imagination, creativity. They want to do a lot of things. But unfortunately, because of lack of resources, because of poverty, because of lack of resources in their ecosystem, they're not able to their parents are probably not employed, they don't have enough resources, they don't have a good school district, a lot of reasons. And you can see in the nations around the world where there's a lot of war, there's a lot of unrest going on, education equity is a very big thing. So how can a child even dream of going to school when literally bombs are ripping their heads off, right? So it is literally that bad. So education equity is one of my main reasons. And of course, uh, if I'm on a platform like this, obviously, I'm extremely interested in justice for SSR. Okay, so this is how I will describe. 1 second. I believe there is some kind of an internet issue. Just switch off my video for a second. Okay, so please, if anybody sees that there is a lag, please let me know. And thank you for being here. Okay, so here, so let's say this is for me, right? Okay, so let's see. Let's see, okay, for the sisters, for SSR sisters, for SSR's family, this might look a little different. Okay, how will it look for me? How will it look for them? Okay, so just at the very top, if we can appreciate this, uh, I cannot speak for them, but as a layperson, as an observer, maybe their top three might be uh, preserving the dignity of their father, privacy, and ensure. Oh, sorry. Let's do this. Let's do a little bit of dignity while they're fighting for justice and privacy. So let's say security. So let's just say just this is completely my assumption. So please don't quote me on this. But I'm just showing you how it might be completely, for those of you who are watching, Livia and Judy, your ideas of what activism might be completely different. You might be engaged more with environment. You might be engaged more with in the pollution movement, youth unemployment, or freedom movement, or gender equality. Your activism definition might be completely different than mine, right? So the idea is activism looks different for each one of us. At the very basic level, if we are able to appreciate this, we are going to be able to make understand where the other person is coming from, because otherwise people usually have like a lot of preconceived notions about, hey, justice for SSR is top on my priority, but what about anybody else, right? So maybe that is not on top of their priority, because there are a lot of things that are going on. I personally want to be championing a few things myself. So here are my top three. So this is at a very broad level. Okay, so next is, I think, okay, so Rahulji, yeah, MSD is not talking about SSR. So again, we are talking about the same topic, Sir Rahulji. So the thing is, maybe MSD's top, he's a cricketer. I mean, if that is the same MSD you're talking about, he's a cricketer, he has a personal life, he has some personal commitments, he is a public figure. We don't know what his idea is. Like, we don't know what is going on, right? So we just can't. I mean, of course, it still doesn't mean that he should not give a statement once in a while to ensure as Cesarians what is going on. But as you can see, this is me, my priorities for activism based on the time I have. This is what I can focus on. For somebody who is an SSR sister, they might be focusing on this. So we don't know necessarily what is making people tick. So we just have to, assume the best interest of the other person and just keep moving. Okay. So, I mean, at the end of the day, this is one of the strategies we are going to be using, Rahulji. So, why this is also part of the lack of communication, right? So absolutely no communication from him is driving many of us crazy. So why is the question, right? So okay, we should just at this point we can only define our roles and keep moving forward. Okay, so here Ashok Ramji from Facebook says action, political and social, mental health with dignity. That's what he says. So these are the priorities that he has. Ashok Ramji, thank you, sir, for tuning in from Facebook. Action, political and social are some of his causes. Okay, great. And mental health with dignity. Absolutely, sir. And if you see, those of us who are aging, those of us who are seniors, our top priority might look like dignity, right? Hey, I want to live with dignity. I want to be respected for what I can contribute and what I'm worth, right? So um, that is great. So everybody has their own priorities, and we need to be understanding where everybody is coming from. So we'll talk about it at length. Okay. So okay, so let's now move on to the next screen. I'm going to leave this here. Let's do another Zite-board. Okay. Okay, so here, let's once again talk about why is activism needed? What is the point? Like, why can't we all just live happily, like, not really worried about what's happening? Just let's, do our own thing, live our awesome life. Why do we have to participate in activism? Why should we be activists? Is there any need? So, if I mean, this is kind of you guys are welcome to keep chiming in, please. It's just not a monologue here. So why? So my reason, if anybody asks me, hey, why are you getting so involved in all these things? Like, what's the point, right? So I strongly say, I suggest that this is one second. It's like we cannot, waste a crisis. That is my primary idea here, right? So we have gotten into a crisis. So how can we actually hold on? This is looking ugly here. One second. Yeah, sorry. I just want to highlight this a little bit here. Primarily for me, it is why we cannot just waste a crisis. We cannot. We have to create waves so that the tide will turn. Okay, so the tide will turn one day, but all of us, every individual, okay, sorry, my drawings are like, my 12-year-old is like, why do you draw when you cannot draw? He keeps yelling at me, but for visual effect and impact, I have to do this. Okay. So why do we, so everybody, this is a collective effort. Everybody is having to make waves in their own capacity. Somebody makes a big splash, somebody makes a small wave. It's okay. But we need to make the tide turn. That is the whole point about activism. We cannot not do this. Otherwise, uh, okay. So the problem. So okay, so this is great. Okay, thank you for inspiring me to be an activist. But something is happening. Something is happening, and that is called burnout. Anybody knows what burnout is? What is burnout? What is happening? This is leading to burnout. And we can see this across the board right now. Uh, just in a lot of behaviors on social media. I will explain. So, okay. So let's see. Rahul ji is saying all are selfish fake celebrities. Okay. Sir, I completely understand your sentiment. The thing is, they are being who they are. That is what they are paid to be. Just, faking it, just, doing whatever is in their best interest and everything. ठीक है छोड़ो, let them be who they are. We are not going to change just because we are seeing all these fake things around us. Subarna ji, thank you, ma'am, for being here. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, thank you. PMG, very happy to see you after a very long time. I know it's way too late, ma'am. Please, thank you. Thank you for chiming in. Savi ji, welcome, ma'am. So, yeah, absolutely, sir. Ashok ji, yeah. So his imagination is, and his, the words he used to use, his vocabulary is like everything is just beyond the ordinary. Absolutely. So we vigorously take certain actions again unless the goal is, yeah, absolutely. And that is how your momentum motivates me and my momentum motivates you, right? Absolutely. And, so one second, I'll go to burnout means to get rid of all. So burnout has a specific meaning. Okay, Upmaji writes, Harriet leader Saeed Ali Gilani passes away in Kashmir after a serious illness. Okay, thank you for the notes, ma'am. Upmaji, thank you. Saturday Springs, thank you for tuning in, ma'am. Thank you. Deepika Rana, thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon to you too. So here, if you see, what is this burnout that most of us are becoming victims of? Okay, let's try to understand that. Okay, it's let me open this up. Yeah, so here your okay. So basically, this is your personal life. La la la. You're just living your happy personal life, and now suddenly your activism, your top three activism goals have become your top priority, and your personal life has taken a back seat. Okay, so when this happens, you forget your personal life priorities, and what happens is your side hustle, which was your activism, like a little bit in the morning, little bit in the evening, you would do some things to keep, creating that awareness, social awareness, or try to motivate people to act and change the system and all that, right? But what happens is these three things take front seat, and this gets pushed down, because of which you can't engage fully, and you will lose a lot of energy. So basically, we'll talk about the signs of burnout that you have to watch out for, because the reason why I brought up this topic is because I see a lot of signs of burnout, and I think it is a little unhealthy the way we are moving forward. So just wanted to, for all of you who are trying to stay here for the longer fight, just want you to be aware of that. Okay, so let's once again full screen. Let's go. Just check the comments here. Yes. So taking direct action to achieve certain goals. Yes. So burnout is in spite of you taking action over and over again, you're feeling a loss of momentum. So that is what it is, Saviji. Yeah. Pramod ji, yeah, sorry, Pramod, yes, you are right. Burnout is, Arey yaar, bahut ho gaya. Now, a lot of people were saying, like a few of the SSR warriors were like, I need a backseat, I need to just cool off, I need to just stay off social media. There's social media burnout. In the past 2 days, we are talking on Twitter about, on Spaces, we are talking about social media burnout, and how people are just doing all kinds of, oh sorry, let me just put myself on the screen here, so people can understand who it is that is talking. Yeah, so people are like a lot of activism burnout, and so they're just lashing out on yeah. So absolutely, Ralji, and yeah, uh, I know some people are just now flip flopping. They're like, okay, oh yeah, we forgot all about boycott Bollywood. Let's now celebrate Sher Shah. It's just feeling sorry and sad. Dinesh ji, thank you, sir, for your footage here. Just imagine. We can't read, we just imagine the meaning. Oh, enough is enough. Yes, Saviji, yes, burnout is enough is enough. We are like, just like a little frustrated sometimes, and see, that is exactly what we are going to be talking about here. How does burnout happen, especially those of us who are doing a little bit more than the average other person in any movement, can have a sense of burnout that can come very quickly. So basically, there are lots and lots of signs. I want you to watch out for this, especially those of you who are complaining that you have not been able to sleep, you have not been able to eat, you have not been able to, stay focused. This is like the part one of the series where I want to talk about only focus, dogged focus about what we want at the end of the day. Okay, so the first thing is this: burnout is like you're feeling like activism is taking over your life, like that is the only thing is taking over, so you're not able to focus on anything else. Activism is taking over. So if this is happening every single day, you're like, कुछ ज़्यादा ही हो रहा है यार. I'm just like, I need to get back to the priorities. I need to do this. I need to do that. And all those things, if they're happening, that is exactly what will feed into the next one, which is delayed decision making about things that are very, very important. So for you, in your personal or professional life, you're making delayed decisions because you're just so doggedly like hell-bent on changing the system, changing the status quo, changing the world and all that. So what happens is that is also a sign of burnout, because there are some things in your personal professional life that need to be addressed right now, but you are pushing them away because you're like, I need to control some aspect of this because I want to see change. In the end, I've invested so much, I cannot stop now. So, of course, fatigue, like at the physical level, you will have fatigue, lack of sleep, and you should watch out for all these things because you're so hyper focused on some things that need your attention, that you think you need your attention, and you just like you just cannot back out. Again, at the mental level, what happens is you're feeling, in spite of doing so much, you're like hopeless. You're like, will this ever change? Really, what am I working for? You become cynical. You feel helpless. You start. So again, all these feelings at the end of the day will be temper tantrums. So all these things you have to watch out. You're lashing out at your mama, you're lashing out at your father, like what's happening. So these are extremely important. You're lashing out at your children. Okay, you're just getting triggered for no reason. Tantrums. Okay, so hold on, sorry, my spelling. So temper tantrums. Okay, all these things. You're slowly losing the focus and you are getting focused on something else completely different. So you need to understand that burnout, the signs of burnout are when you feel like activism is taking over your life, you're not able to stay focused, you are pushing away decisions which are extremely important, and you're moving them away because you're like, nahi, abhi nahi. I'll decide later. I need to take care of this. I need to retweet this. I need to create a nice, beautiful play card. I need to create a nice something that people can use. You're finding momentum in something else, but the important, your personal and your professional things are taking a back seat. Okay, so you have to watch out for that. These are all signs of burnout. And I will explain to you why burnout happens. Okay. And here, hopelessness and helplessness is the biggest trigger that I want you to think of, where you are seeing that you're becoming cynical, you're becoming pessimistic, you're also doing a blame game. You're doing temper tantrums on the internet. You're like just crying out for attention. Um, you know, we are seeing videos of people, how dare he does that, how dare she does that, and all those like inability to trust anyone, and external validation. Oh, I am not able to sit quietly now, and I'm not able to be comfortable with lack of stimulation. So it means let me do one thing. I will tweet and see how much momentum I can gather. Yes, you are actually piggybacking on these external validations for daily momentum. Okay, so all these are uh, signs of burnout. The activism has now been replaced by anxiety. Am I doing enough? I need to change the world. I need to do it quickly. Let me make a video and show how I feel. Everybody should know the reality. How can he be a leader? How can she be a leader? I am the leader. I don't want to be a leader. You be a leader. What is all this, right? So a lot of temper tantrums, a lot of drama, a lot of ego clashes, losing focus, diffusing your energy. All these are signs of burnout. Oops. Um, okay, so let's do that. And I just want to, so let's address a little bit of this. Okay, so 1 second. Let's do a little bit of the comments. Completely tired. Thank you, Dinesh Kumarji. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Saviji, thank you, ma'am. Yeah, Livia ji, yes, ma'am. So helplessness, if you're feeling like you're fed up, completely fed up, Saviji, yes. Sarah ji, Om Shanti ji, thank you, ma'am. All these are signs of burnout. I want you to watch out for all these signs, especially if you are feeling those kind of like moods, or you're stuck in those emotions. Try to create a little bit of clarity. So, so now we are getting into how burnout happens. So, how burnout happens is, first thing is lack of role clarity. So, again, we were talking about my role in the movement, me, and sister of SSR's family, somebody from SSR's. So, if I have to look at this, they're completely different roles, right? But I don't have role clarity. I am just as invested as them. I go crazy. I have to retweet everything that is out there. I need to defend the dignity of the family. I need to bash all these trollers. Koi Salman Khan ka, I was like trolling them. They were trolling me. And today somebody from Kangana's team were trolling me, and I was trolling them, back and forth, back and forth. Too much of drama, right? So I am trying to save the world in one essence, but I'm forgetting my role clarity here. I'm forgetting that, okay, I have a role, but I cannot. So before saving my family and my ecosystem, I cannot go out and save the world. I'm forgetting that. So role clarity is missing. Okay. So that is very, very important for you to please understand what is your role. Okay. Uh, so here Om Shanti ji says that it's me. Okay. Nipunji, welcome, sir. And Jyoti ji is saying something. I have सलमान को गाली दे रहे हो कि मेरे को गाली दे रहे हो, I don't know, but please, anything is welcome. Okay. So here, second thing, role clarity, right? Like, what is my role in this movement or any movement? We were talking about what my top three movements are, right? I want to focus on mental health awareness. I want to provide, I want to fight for education equity, and I want to fight for justice for Sushant. So in these three, again, I have different roles. I have to remember and constantly course correct myself. So here, what happens with lack of, again, how burnout happens. So we are talking about how burnout happens. Okay, so this is the topic for those of you who are tuning in. Thank you for coming. So earlier it was 10 viewers, and now it is 1345. I'm a little nervous, but I think I should be happy instead of nervous. But that's an emotion I'm feeling. Okay, so here lack role clarity. Okay, and then now again clarity in timeline. So timeline clarity. So some people, so again I'll talk about Generation Z, who are the youth activists of the world right now. So time clarity. So Vandana Shiva, if anybody knows Vandana Shiva, she is an amazing lady who has been fighting for 40 plus years in environmental activism. ये कल के बच्चे साले they come here and they're like immediately the world has to change, climate activism, we want justice, we want climate change. नहीं होगा babu, just relax, okay? Environmentalists like Vandana Shiva have been fighting for organic seeds, preservation of organic seeds. They're fighting against the big bad guys called Monsanto. If I highly recommend you to please follow her. She's her project Navdhanya, where she saves all the organic seeds of the world, and especially in India, trying to preserve those that are not chemically GMO manufactured kind of things. And she talks about all these things, but how is she fighting for 45 years without burning out? Yes, so instant ka zamana hai. Instant microwave, instant pop-up, instant download, instant delivery. So you remember that burnout that happened to that lady in Bangalore, where that Zomato guy did not come on time and she was throwing a fit. So timeline clarity. Take a step back and understand how much time this might need. Okay. Okay. The third thing I want to talk about is content. Okay. What is the food that you're consuming? By food, I'm not talking about Zomato or like pizzas or whatever, or some late night snacks or whatever people do to stay up late to be in the movement. Okay. Content, which is, so sometimes I'm like, these lives matter, that lives matter, and everything. And you're like, so much of graphic content. People are actually putting out content of dead bodies, broken fingers, and naked people. I mean, I'm like, what is happening? For shock value, you're doing anything? क्या कर रहे हो यार? My threshold is lower than somebody else's threshold who is in a war zone. So relax while you're sharing. Please be responsible. And Twitter sala, I don't know what they do. They never take these stuff down. It's just so ugh. Okay. So content. Make sure. See, when you are seeing content like this. So I know a person who is an animal activist, an animal rights activist. He says, oh, I have to see all these animals being slaughtered so that I can feel the pain and I can fight for it. And no, I'm sorry, no, you will burn out quickly because you become so shocked. So please don't consume graphic content if that is not your cup of tea. Burnout happens because of that. You have to understand what is your trigger. What is your trigger? Okay, and mass, this is something that has been very close to my mind, especially from the past 24, 36 hours. Mass cultural shift. Okay. What is happening here? So there is a person in the movement, a so-called front leader, whatever. Suddenly he starts making claims, changing the narrative, and like completely trying to shift the perspective. And it is this mass hysteria and mass confusion, and like, kya ho gaya? Everybody's taking U-turns now. Like, so this burnout happens. Immediately people are like, I am frustrated. How dare he says that? She says that. I am leaving the moment. I'm like, he said something. Why will you leave the moment, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So understand that some people do things responsibly, irresponsibly, and all kinds of things, but that cannot be your source of burnout. So please watch out for that. It's very, very important. Here, 1 second. So thank you, Cedar Springs. Thank you, Livia, for the love. Thank you. Peter Ducker's chaos theory, okay, can be applied in fight to no activism, no revolution, organic evolution trumps everything. Let's be honest, it's an honest fight. Oof, Pramod, awesome, sir. This is awesome. Yes. I think I've heard of this. I can't tell, but thank you so much. I will check it out. I appreciate that. Okay, Nipunji, thank you with the like button. Okay. Thank you, guys. I appreciate all the love. And Pramod, Kalke Greta ke bache. I am serious. I am just like so frustrated because I have to maintain the dignity. of being here in the public eye, I need to control myself. But Pramod, I have some really choice words for some people who want instant results. So let's keep it at that. Okay, so jokes apart, mass cultural shift. So again, why is burnout happening? So let's do this. I'll just move it a little bit here so people have an idea of what is happening. Okay, next is the other reason why burnout can happen is your lack of recognition. Every single person, okay, credit chahiye, lack of recognition. I'm like, credit le lo bhai. You can, don't worry, just you, in a mass movement where there are like hundreds and thousands and lakhs of us, how am I supposed to give you credit? Like, what is it credit for? Like, you moved the needle a little bit, is that what the credit is for? Please, let's just not get carried away with this narrative that, oh, I got I got rewarded, my neurochemicals are kicking in, my dopamine is rushing, and I'm like feeling so great, I tweeted, yay, and now I want credit. I need likes, I need retweets, I need comments saying that awesome job. No, are you doing it for yourself because you want to contribute, or are you doing something to be neurologically rewarded? Think about that. Lack of recognition also is leading to burnout because you feel like so small when compared to all these things. Now you're like, I don't want to do it, right? So, one of the other things, lack of recognition is also leading into infighting. I'll give you some specific examples. Even today, specifically to the justice movement of SSR, we are going through a lot of upheaval. People are just, it is so confusing. And I keep writing to all these aunties, behenjis, uncles, and bhai log ki, yaar, kya ho raha hai? No, I don't understand a single thing. Oh, I'm okay with two taglines. I'm okay with two hashtags. Narayan Raneji for SSR and Disha, SSR flatmates, key to the killers. I'm like, okay. And people like me who are like, oh, Sant Paramatma, neutral, right? I'm like, no, I am okay with hashtag for justice for SSR. And now immediately, if people are like saying Narayanji, Narayan Rani ji for SSR, or are they saying flatmates? You're like, ha, ye group ka hai, ye group ka hai, and justice for SSR people are neutral. Kya ho raha hai yahan pe? Like, this is kind of the infighting drama that is so sad. At the end of the day, are we even seeing that SSR is trending or not? Kuch bhi, right? So that is this infighting, this confusion and chaos of mass cultural shifts that are happening in how we are fighting also can lead to burnout. There's so many people every day, they're like, enough is enough, I cannot do this, I'm out. What is this? So clarity in the message, just stand for something that you believe in, just keep going for it, right? So, and so let's continue to talk about it. Let's check 1 second, I'll check the comments here. Okay, oops, there are no comments. Okay, thank you. Either you are completely in coma because of what I'm talking, or you're arrested by my beautiful explanation. What is it? Okay, so jokes apart, let's go back to understanding. In all this, right? In all this, I want you to understand one thing. Okay, so I have an idea of explaining the stages of burnout. See, all this, I promise, will lead into us understanding focus. Okay. So burnout may so many. So here I'll tell you what is the most interesting thing about us SSRians, especially, is I can see that all of us, most of us, are in different stages of burnout. Okay. Some people are, enough is enough, I'm ready to quit social media, I will do my fight individually, I am enough and I can just do this well. Okay, great. Some people are like, I'm going to troll this other person because he or she is not listening to the leader of the thing. I'm going to troll until, I'm going to give it back to them. So everybody who is, whether they are doing a temper tantrum or whether they are trying to quit, or all these things are different stages of burnout. You just have to remember that. So the first thing usually that happens is, even before burnout happens or anything, you're like, oh, there's a quote also. Uh, it's like the honeymoon, right? Like you're newlywed, you're like all excited, you're like, yeah, ready to rock and roll, man. I am good. I am here. I'm going to change the world. Let's go. Okay, so that's the honeymoon phase. This is also an integral part of the burnout, because that is when honeymoon phase. What happens is you are like all starry eyed, you're like, I am so like changing the world, I'm going to do whatever it takes to, like, change people's perspective. Hey, get on board with this idea that we all have. Look how many of us are here. You need to come follow us, right? Like you need to be a part of this. uh, Come on, you have that sense of awareness, now you've got to do. So you try to like bring everybody on board, and like you're doing all these things. But then what happens is, quickly all these things start to become, slowly you're like confused. Oh, my agenda is not necessarily everybody's agenda. Huh? Really? Like they can see all these injustices, but why are they not fighting? I mean, that was early on, in September and October. I used to have that severely. I used to be like, wow, they can see all these things happening in front of their eyes. How dare they don't speak up? That is so wrong and all that, right? Like I used to be this vigilante justice kind of a person, and like slowly what happens is, nobody cares. Nobody is like, ये कुछ पागल आदमी कुछ कर रही है, it's okay, whatever, right? And then that becomes a source of your stress, because you feel like, oh, chronic stress. Okay, that is like chronic stress for you, because you're dealing with the movement, and you are dealing with also the non-believers, the naysayers. So then what happens is, this chronic stress will lead to what is identified as the classic burnout. Again, we just talked about all the symptoms that of the burnout. Okay, you in burnout, what you do is you double down. You keep on, like, you keep elevating the momentum, and you become supercharged. Every day you're like, I nothing is yielding results, so I'm going to do a lot in a day. So 20 hours you'll work on it every day, like without stopping, because you're not able to see results. And that is classic symptom of you like knee deep in burnout. So that is extremely important for you to understand. And of course, this burnout actually extends to a very, very constant state of burnout. BO is usually people say BO is body odor, but this is not body odor. This is burnout, classic burnout. Like this constant burnout is like every day you keep on keeping up that momentum, and because you're delaying other things in your life, you're pushing back other things in your life, because you're so doggedly focused on this, that somehow you want to bring it to a closure. But again, you're forgetting the fact that the timelines, the roles, all these things are evolving every day based on the new information that we are getting. We forget that. So it is very critical for us to remember all these things. So again, oh, 1 second. I can see that I have been hiding this, but let's see. I will remove the question here. Okay. Can you see? Okay. So here, once again, let's just talk about this here. The classic stages of burnout are slow to come, but they will come if you don't watch out for them. So what should we do in order to make sure that we don't get burnt out and we can take care of ourselves? So here is where this is the final thing, right? That I want to discuss about how we can keep our commitment to our preferred social cause of choice in a sustainable, scalable way. This is the final thing I want to talk about today. Okay, so let's see. Uh, okay, so Livia Moon. Okay, thank you, ma'am. So here, let's go here. Just want to do one more sideboard. This is like the finale. So please, if anybody wants to talk or anything, please, you guys are welcome to. I did not mean to make it a monologue or anything. Just wanted to give some idea about what I am seeing. But please, by all means, if you see something that is working that you think might help, please, by all means. Here, okay. So the topic here is how can we stay focused and committed. So how can I show my commitment? How can I show my commitment to the cause? By staying focused. How can I show my commitment? How can I show it in a way that is scalable? I mean, how can I recruit more of the activists who think like me? And how can I sustain it? How can I keep up my own momentum and others' momentum? So this is what is happening here. Okay. So let's talk about it. The first thing is, okay, let's talk about the self. Let's just talk about the self. So how can you keep up? This is again self-care 101. Self-care 101. Take time outs. Absolutely, man. This is right on, Livia. Taking time outs and taking care of the self. It is just, there's so many things that you can do, right? The timeout is, I like that word I use. I had a word called interruption. Like interrupt yourself once in a while to question your motivations. Hey, am I doing this because other people are doing, or am I really deeply invested in this? Ask yourself, am I doing this because other people are like, oh, chalo, chalo, you're doing a good job, yeah, keep doing it? Are you doing it because of other people's noise in your ears, or are you doing it for yourself? I want you to question it. Interrupt yourself. Take time out. Okay? Because what happens is when you do that, you're going to also become intentional about your priorities. You intentionally say, नहीं मुझे ये नहीं करना है, मुझे ये करना है, and this is how I want to do it. Instead of getting carried away by other people's agenda, you take a step back, because at the end of the day, if loving, giving, nurturing, sharing, and all these things are the only thing on the agenda, it is not sustainable. Like, when will you keep your cup full, right? Like, when will you nurture yourself? So sustainability can come by loving, giving, and sharing, but intermittently, little by little, little by little, not too much, and in a very, like, that cannot be a sustainable way of doing it. Okay. The interruption will also give you some idea about how to understand your strengths. I see a lot of people who are warriors, SSR warriors, or any activism, any kind of any of the things. There are some political activists I know. There are climate activists I know. There are food activists I know. Animal rights activists I know. There's so many people doing unbelievable things in the world, but some people are doing everything. They are not playing to their strengths. If you can play to your strengths, understand that, hey, I am good at making a flyer. I'm good at emailing. I'm good at, yesterday we ran a campaign, very specific campaign, spearheaded by some people who are very specific in that knowledge domain, right? Who have been doing research and everything. So those kind of participations, what happens is you'll see a lot of engagement because people understand, they have been given clear instructions, because people who are spearheading that are clear about their own strengths, and they're helping others also perform optimally. So when you play to your strengths, what happens is you are efficient, you are extremely efficient in the process, and also you are you're optimizing the whole system. You are optimizing the whole system. So this is the thing. Here some, again, this also works in the other way. You cannot be a defender just because you have like the gift of the gab, just because you can speak. Okay, you are like a great speaker. Some people rush to immediately start defending everybody. How I'm going to fight for you, I'm going to fight for you, I'm going to, you don't have a voice. How dare you, don't call him a leader, he's an awesome leader, he's an awesome person. Okay, relax, just relax. Okay, everybody can fight for themselves. Focus on the bigger cause, right? So don't let our strengths become our minus points. That is extremely important. And here, to Livia ji's point, I would like to say, this is how I operate. Like, it has worked out for me great, because from the past exactly 1 year, 1 year, 1 month, I have been here, engaged here. Because for me personally, what has worked is activism hours. In a day, activism hours. I have scheduled my activism just like how I have. 1 second, 1 second. I want to write it nicely. Okay. So, activism hours. This is personally what has worked for me. So this is also my activism hours, right? Because I'm playing to my strengths. I know what I'm good at. So I want to be able to contribute. So mera aaj ka activism hours might be complete when I'm done with this, or may not be. I might cheat and like get engaged in some other debate or conversation later on. But I'm saying ki let's keep it inside a framework so that we are able to give more every day. Not like 8, then dhadak se 20 hours. 20 hours you're like non-stop debating, fighting, tweeting, retweeting, and next day flat on the bed, right? No, that is not what we are talking about. We want a sustainable approach to anything in life. Yes. Next. This is one thing I really, really request everybody. This is my star idea here, please. Again, we touched about it a little bit earlier also. Get real. I'm serious about this. Again, we talked about it a little bit. See, wishful thinking. Justice milke hi rahega. Yes, obviously, we are all doing this because we believe that justice is going to be delivered. I mean, if you don't have hope here, what are you doing here? Goodbye, Tata, right? But here I'm saying, let's get real, because timeline, role clarity, our own personal and professional commitments that we have. There's so many things at stake. So get real. I appreciate wishful thinking, but let's marry optimism with ground reality, and slowly, like understand all the moving parts, and understand that for it to be scalable and sustainable, you have to have an idea of the timeline or the amount of effort it will take, our collective effort it will take. Okay, so that is why role clarity in the self. In this big puzzle, my piece is this much. Okay, if I know this one, so I'm not like picking up a fight with every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Salman ke bhi fans, SSR ke bhi warriors. I will like defend everybody. Blah blah blah. What am I doing? Relax. Okay, let's get real. Understand that this is the piece of the big gigantic puzzle that you are trying to put. You are only trying to put this piece back where it belongs. That's the role you have. Okay, depending on, again, I as an individual, and SSR family ka a sister or his father may have a different role and have a bigger piece of the puzzle. It's okay, they're putting it. You just have to trust the system like how we are putting it, right? Let's focus, because what is happening is, again, this is one of the reasons for burnout, as we were talking about. You're doubting yourself. I can't see results. Where is the puzzle? Where is the puzzle? I need it to be. No, there's so many other people who are working at different thresholds and in the different capacities. Time lagega bhai. Relax, right? So just slowly, Next, in the end, this is what I request you to define your focus, define your role. What is your contribution? Literally exercise your mind to once in a while feed yourself content that is relaxing. Okay, because see, at the end of the day, everybody is suffering, yaar. I can't just enjoy. I can't take a break. That is not even sustainable. You want to be coming back recharged for more. So you need to invest in self-care. Oh, the animals are getting killed. The climate is changing. Every single country in the world is having a major wildfire. The world is collapsing. The justice system is crumbling. I cannot relax. No, that cannot be a sustainable approach for long term. Burnout happens even more quickly if that is the approach. Okay. So in the end of the day, I want to tell you. So I think actually, hold on. Commitment. Okay. So of course we will continue. One second. I'll just do marches. Like we are marching. We are starting marching everywhere these days. If you have seen how we have been marching, how we have been showcasing ground protesters and everything, we have been marching all over the world, literally. You can also march, literally take a walk with a t-shirt, right? There are girls and guys who are just using their t-shirts, and even in America, I know some SSR warriors, even in India, some SSR warriors who are just like barber ke paas, like hair salon ke liye bhi jao, they're wearing the SSR shirt. Work ke liye jao, they're wearing the SSR shirt. Like literally, like wherever they're literally marching, they're just that is a very low stake, awesome way to show your commitment here, right? So you're chanting, you're giving speeches, you are posting videos, you're creating awareness, you are updating your WhatsApp profile pictures. Matlab, Twitter mein to everybody, SSRian, who is an SSRian, like 50% of us have SSR ka photo, right? Like our identity itself is now being taken over as an SSRian, right? So do all these things. This is how you are showing your commitment anyway, right? But the point is, how do you show it in a way that is sustainable? So see, some of us at the end of the day can be marching only if it is sustainable for you to do it only online. Take it, march your fingers on the keyboard and do whatever it takes. If it is okay, and if it is a low risk tactic in a city or a state that you're living in, march on the road. Okay, whatever it is, do your thing to show your commitment in a sustainable and scalable way. Because at the end of the day, I want you to remember one thing. Okay, let me do this. Okay, in a nice different color. Okay. We have to marry, if on the path forward, we have to marry the fear of status quo with the hope that things will get better. Because keeping these two in balance, and in check will help us move forward in this path. So fear of status quo must meet the hope that things will get better. I keep thinking, because at the end of the day, this generation, the Gen Z, that is so inspirational. So many young warriors all around the world, climate activists, animal rights activists, so many people who are doing what they're doing, including the SSR movement. They're not saying somebody should do something. No, they're saying that somebody, is me. It is me who is going to bring the change. So that somebody is you, and please marry the fear of status quo, to hope to sustain a balance and scale it up. Spread it to everybody in your ecosystem. Yaar, ye ho raha hai. Please, you also raise your voice. You have a voice. You are here. You can make an impact. You are one and only unique person, right? So, um, I just, Pramod has a quote here. I'm going to put it up here. He says, my 2 cents, don't be an activist. It's not scalable sustain. Definition of activism doesn't have a single positive. Change is the only constant. Be a creator. I just love it. And Pramod, I think that is a great insight, because all of us who are being activists necessarily are not like only doing slogans and marching on the road and creating or disrupting or doing anything which is not sustainable. They're also creating, they're also teaching others. They're part of the education series. They're like, okay, let me post a video to explain. So one of our Delhi warriors had done that. She was explaining how things work. So yesterday somebody was explaining how to call CBI. How will that work? Like small videos to explain things. Even that is activism, right? Okay, so let's not be bogged down by that word activism. Let's forget the activism. And okay, so let's not get bogged down by that. But yes, to Pramod's points, I completely agree. Okay, thank you for that idea. Let's do this. One final thought. So feelings of anger, like anger, frustration, sadness, despair, hopelessness, helplessness, all these, okay, let's use them to change the world, right? So change the world in a positive way. Convert them into action, not activism. Okay. So how about this? We are going to act. Okay. Not just be activists. We are just going to act in a way that will change the world in a positive way. Because see, we all are feeling these emotions, right? Despair, anger, frustration, helplessness. But we also have the tools and the skills and the wherewithal to convert this into action, specific actions to help change the world. So, whoa, okay, one second. Ma'am, I'm really appreciative of your be happy and creative. I'm really appreciative of your comments, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, so, okay, I took your comment. I really appreciate that. Thank you for all the love. I hope you're well. Just, if you're an SSR warrior or if you have any activism of your choice, please continue keeping up your good work. Thank you so much. So here, I just want to explain to be happy and creative what we were talking at the beginning, once again, before we wrap up. So I will wrap up in the next 2 minutes. Actually, I have one beautiful quote from Instagram. So be happy and creative. This is for you, ma'am. Just these 2 points. So if you see, my activism is how I define it. Okay, so my action, okay, is towards creating mental health awareness and creating education equity around the world and fighting for SSR's justice. So if it is SSR sister, it might be sisters. Okay, because again, that is also, people are like, oh, Iki sister hai, who is real, who is fighting, the rest of them are quiet. I can't deal with that drama. Please. I meant sisters. Please don't take me out of context. So dignity, justice, privacy, and security might be their top priorities, right? So depending on the role you play in the world, your action steps might be different. Okay. So I have this, I saved it in one of my notes. 1 second, give me 1 second. I just want to end with this. I saw this amazing quote and I just wanted to say this out loud. I don't know her. not engaged with her. This is one of my best friends who tagged me, and I just loved it so much that I wanted to read it out loud here. Let me see if I can make it a little bigger. This is what I want to end with. Anybody who is there, where is the, whoops, one second. I'll try to zoom it in as much as I can. Let's see. Okay. So I'm just going to read it out loud, and I will end the session with just one more Zeitboard so that we can just conclude here. Okay. So here in this life, you will feel many things. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit. Okay. Here in this life, you will feel many things. You will laugh and you will let go. You will gather stories and you will grieve. You will be interrupted by light. You will find gold in little things. You will have questions that lead to answers. And you will have questions you sit with for years. You will long for days to come, and you will learn to find joy right here. In essence, you're going to stop waiting because you will believe that I've been looking for joy all over the place, but it is right here, right? You'll come to that realization one day. You will watch old things drift away and you will see new things take shape. You will look back on old years in awe of the ways you have changed. And over, things will change and you might feel a little afraid. You will also find there is grace to take this day by day. Take heart here in the change. You will still bloom day by day. May the extra hour of sleep remind you're worthy of rest. May the text from a friend you haven't heard from in a while remind you someone does care. May the well-worn sweatpants you put on today remind you of how you have taken care of your things in a mindful way. Make the scent that you ignited a positive memory remind you that even in the most difficult things, you still manage to keep that beautiful moment with you. Make the breath that leaves your body remind you of how even here, amidst all your holding, you are capable of release. May the sight of the ever-moving clock remind you that tomorrow is on its way. And even though it is unknown, you don't have to be afraid. Light will meet you on the path. Hope will last. Joy is right here. So I just want to leave you with this. Light will meet us in the path. Hope is here. Hope will last and joy is right here. Thank you, Pramod. Yes, indeed. Don't worry, sir. Please, you are okay. And be happy and creative. I'm so happy that you are a fellow SSRian. Thank you so much. And thank you, Pramod. Yes, indeed. Thank you, guys, for being here and sharing. So 1 second, I just want to leave you guys with this. Few seconds and we will exit. Just striking a balance. Remember, the final words here are striking a balance between fear and hope. And, we are all here because we are not asking somebody must be doing something. It is because we are saying that somebody is me and I am going to be the one to bring the change. Thank you so much, Livia. Thank you, everybody who is watching. I really appreciate your footage. And until next week, we are going to be very specifically talking about time management. Thank you. Until next time, peace out. Thank you, Pramod.